In November 2022, I put out a video titled, "One Big Difference Buying a New Apartment in Lithuania." Well, in case you didn't watch it, or have no plans to watch it, I'll save you the trouble and just tell you that this big difference is the fact that most new apartments and condominiums in Canada, and I believe in the UK as well, come with the interior finished and may also include appliances like the refrigerator, the oven, and washing machine. Here in Lithuania, and of course some other parts of the world, brand new apartments come with nothing. No drywall, no light switches, no bathtub, and no proper flooring. You basically get a concrete shell with wires and pipes waiting to be attached to things. Well, for today's video, I thought I would go over my own experience of moving into a new apartment in Vilnius, sharing with you the joys and the challenges of this long and tiring process. So, let's just get started. It's been so long since my wife and I signed the papers and made the deal to take out a mortgage and get a new apartment. So off the top of my head, I can't remember when exactly this happened. However, I think it was probably close to 1.5 or 2 years of waiting before we more or less moved in. I mean, at the time of writing the script, there's still a little bit of work to be done, but hopefully by the time you watch this, we'll be fully moved in. So once the apartment is ready, you meet with the developer to get the keys and officially sign things over. There's a notary involved and a big transfer of money. That's just where the fun begins. Some buildings or developments offer packages for getting the interior done up, but this isn't always the case, and you might just have to find your own people to do the work. Or I guess if you have the skills or are willing to learn, you could save a ton of money and do it all yourself, at your own risk. Our building didn't come with any kind of package offering, but luckily my wife had already worked with a contractor before and had a positive experience with him, and so we went with him and his team. Doing this involves a handful of meetings to set out expectations about how you want your space to be, where you want the light switches and sockets, etc. You, as the client, will have a fair bit of homework to do too, choosing the type of floors, the type of doors, the handles, the faucets, and ceiling lamps, and probably a lot more. This process took us to stores all over the city, but luckily our contractor had his list of businesses that he had good relations with, and so we had a good idea of where to go already. We went to this flooring place in Žirmūnai, this door shop in Snipiškės, this tile shop in Pašilaičiai, this faucet and bathroom place in Vilnius, and also made a few visits to Senukai and Ermitažas to shop for lamps. It's really important to be on top of this stuff because you don't want to waste the contractor's time, and also because it might take some time for your desired supplies to be ordered. I think it took about 3 months for a contractor and his team to get things ready for the next stage. During this time, we were curious about the progress, and we were able to drop by. Of course, this was more ideal during non-working hours, just to see how things were going. Things seemed to turn out quite well, actually. There was one issue, however. The faucet we ordered, when placed in the position that it was, turned out to be a little too short. So instead of water coming out into the bathtub, it would go onto the edge of the bathtub. I know we have a large part to play in this error, but I think it's also something the store should have been aware of, particularly if you're buying all the components from them at once. But if you didn't think about this before, now you know. Considering everything was all tiled, we thought this was going to be a major hassle to change, and we were ready to buy a short plastic spout thing just to extend the flow, but thankfully it turned out to be a fairly easy switch. The one other thing that bugs me are the switches for the ceiling lamps in the living room. The right switch turns on the left lamp, and the left switch turns on the right lamp. Let me know in the comment section if you would be able to live with this, or if it would bother you as well. I don't know if it's an easy fix, but I think I'll try to live with it. I do love the lamps, but in this room, I prefer just turning on the floor lamp anyways. So once the contractor and the team have done their part, it's time to get your kitchen cabinets, wardrobes, and appliances brought in and installed. We went with IKEA for the kitchen cabinet process. As someone explained to me, this isn't super customizable when compared to a cabinet maker doing custom work, but there is a reasonable level of customization when it comes to the placement of certain things. And of course, the cost is much lower. Once it was all ordered, we paid to have it delivered and installed. I guess you could do these tasks yourself as well, but I prefer to leave it to the professionals. After all this is installed, you can move on to the next step of ordering the fridge, washing machine, and I guess all the other furniture. Now here's one thing that I was annoyed with. The delivery policies of various companies is just all over the place in Lithuania. Some businesses in Lithuania only deliver up to the entrance of the building. Some businesses apparently expect the customer to help carry stuff, and some other places let you pay a little extra to have things delivered right to your door. We ordered a large bed that came in a few pieces. A few very, very heavy pieces. And this company had just the driver delivering this stuff, and thus expected the customer to help with carrying things in. Now, I don't consider myself that weak or scrawny, but I'm also not super strong. Actually, I can probably lift a decent amount of weight, but holding that weight for a few minutes while navigating it through doorways and stairwells is a completely different thing.
Pivot! 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 Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
So when I was expected to help with carrying these massive 60-kilogram pieces of furniture, it was a disaster. My arms were jelly after a few minutes, and there was so much pressure to get things done because I was sure the delivery guy had other things to do. Unfortunately, it was the same situation with the fridge. Needless to say, I tipped these delivery guys very well for their troubles. Has anyone else been through these kinds of situations, or is it just me? Because I feel like there should be an option from the company to provide delivery right into the apartment, rather than the responsibility being on you to arrange for friends or a separate moving company to come at the same time to carry something from the street up into the apartment. But that's just me. So then the last bit of work is assembling your own furniture, if it's from IKEA, and also getting various things mounted and installed. This is where a handyman comes in, well, handy. In Lithuania, this type of person is referred to as a meistras, which directly translates to master. But functionally, it has the general meaning of a handyman or craftsman. Someone like this can help with securing furniture to the walls, hooking up the washing machine, etc. I'm guessing this is something that some people do themselves, but again, with me being relatively inexperienced, I'd prefer to trust the professionals. Besides, I was tired enough from assembling IKEA furniture. But shout out to the handful of friends who helped us with this big step as well. We're almost settled in, but the one big issue we have now is the fact that our apartment is linked to one of these new fancy smart home systems, which actually seems dumb and annoying, particularly when it comes to ventilation. It seems like the system is missing the bathroom fan and isn't actually connected to the oven vent. Hopefully we can figure it out, or talk to someone who can. It's situations like this where I prefer a good old switch for the bathroom fan. Simple and effective. Now that we're mostly moved in, there's the unpleasant experience of having many of the apartments around us going through their own processes. This means at all times of the day, and even nights and weekends, we have the sound of power tools working away. You might even have heard some tools during the recording of this video. It's definitely something to get used to, and just something you'll need to anticipate if you're one of the first owners moving in. But yeah, that's our experience of moving into a brand new apartment development in Lithuania. I've actually never done this before, not even in Canada. And so I really didn't know what to expect, and I can't say that I have much to compare to. My amazing wife did most of the work in communicating with all the different businesses and representatives, and so most of the credit for completing this massive process goes to her. I do get the sense that it would be a lot less work in somewhere like Canada, considering the interior work is all included in the price and completed at the same time by the company. But then you don't have all the fun of customizing everything yourself, right? I know my audience is quite diverse, but if you've ever gone through anything similar, I'd love to hear about your own experiences in the comments section. But to wrap things up, the Lithuanian word of the day is apdaila, which directly translates to finishing or facing. But it's kind of like renovation, but without the idea that you're redoing something, if that makes sense. Perhaps interior modeling would be the most fitting translation. But yeah, the word is apdaila. Thanks so much again for watching, and I'll see you next time.